Okay, so in this video, I'm going to create a tap, and a tap is basically you're tapping data, a data feed, or creating a data feed, and what it does is on a schedule or on demand, depending on how you set it up, it can pull data from an external source like a REST API, database, and it can drive it into a pipeline for processing through to its destination. So I'm going to walk through this real quick. Let's go to taps, and I'm going to create a tap, and let's say I'm going to call it financial data. I'm not going to put in a catalog for now. Do that later. What I want to do is I want to grab like stock price, end of day stock prices, and maybe company earnings. So let's say I would like to retrieve end of day stock prices and earnings information. Just ask that question, it'll come back and say where I can get it. Suggest places like Alpha Advantage, Polygon, Yahoo Finance, no auth key needed. I'm going to use that one because that seems like the simplest one for now. It does support auth keys. It just, when it generates the data set, like if I chose Polygon, it would say, okay, what's your API key? And I can show you that at some point. But let's say Y Finance is good for now. Okay. Do you have a specific list of stock tickers you'd like? I do, actually. I have tickers in a file. I also have them based on the last video, I have them in a table on the Datris platform. So, yes, Datris Platform. Okay. And a tap can pull information from your Datris platform. Script will discover the right table on Datris runtime by looking at one ticker symbol, column. What time range would you like? Just the last trading date, because I'm going to run this in a CRON every day, every night, every weeknight. Okay, perfect. Now we don't need anything more specific. Let's just basically, it builds an instruction for the AI engine, and it's going to generate a Python script based on that instruction. This takes just a minute to generate. Okay, it's there. So here's the script that automatically imports the Datris platform information that it needs, if it needs it. You can go through this, look at it. You can modify it if you want in the next step. But let's just go next. And it's going to import this package. The platform has its own basically container environment that it uses to run this. So it's not really importing in your environment, it's in the actual Docker container. So here it is. I can basically test it now. It's going to run through a test. Okay, so it says it found the table public holdings. There's an error in here, so what we can do is, we don't have to actually do anything. It did bring data back, but there's an AI diagnosis here that tells us basically we're missing a single record for HBI, Hans brands. We don't really care about that at this point. We could apply a diagnosis, it would regenerate that, but it might not find that anyways. We'd have to modify the script a little bit, but let's just use it as is for now. What we can do here is we can enable a schedule. So I can say I want to run this weekdays at midnight. Next. And we can review and save this. We can also generate a pipeline from this. So I can go ahead and do that. Actually, let's skip that for now. Let's just save the tab. Okay, so now we have the tab saved, right? Now if we go to pipelines, we generate a new pipeline. I can go from tap, so I can put EOD stock prices. This is the name. I can basically say I'm going to select the financial data tab that we just created. I'm going to say next. This is a JSON data set. It's asking me if every line contains a JSON object, which is just not just regular JSON. Oops. We can generate a JSON field for the source schema. So that's what it does for all JSON documents. We're not going to do a preprocessor now. We're not going to do data quality. We're not going to do transform. We're going to put it in Mongo, and we're going to call, it's going to go to the database, and we're going to type a new collection. Let's just call it stock prices collection. Something like that. Just underscore that. Prices collection. Okay, next. Creates pipeline. Now we have a pipeline. Now we have a tab. So now I'm going to take and I'm going to go back to the tabs, and I'm actually going to run this as a test. So here's my tab. I can just basically run this, and it will go out to the endpoint at Y-Finance, grab the data based on the tab, push that in through the pipeline. So let's run it now. And I can send it to the endpoint, to the pipeline, so it'll flow through that pipeline and however that's configured. Run. So it's executing the script. And there it is. And it still gives us that HBI couldn't be found. But here's the data. It pushed it to the pipeline. Let's go to ingestion. You can see it pushed it here. It's successful. We can go now and we can actually search on it. It went into Mongo. And there it is, stock prices collection. And there's all the data. And that's basically how you set up a pipeline, or tap going into a pipeline.